Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze. Saw the yeah, grew up in a concrete jungle where dreams get lost in a haze.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another Mets Roundtable podcast right here on the channel. Hopefully, everybody is doing okay. If you're a Mets fan, not so good after yesterday. We will have Hayden and Hector here at some point. They're going to be running a little bit late, but I do got my boy here, my coworker Tim, obviously a Mets fan and a YouTube guy as well. ESB is the channel for him. I'll let him get into the details in just a second, but make sure you hit on that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tim, how you doing, buddy? And let everybody know what you got going on YouTube.
We're going good. It's been a really nice baseball season. Overall, it's just been a lot of fun storylines and making a lot of money doing it too over at Earl Sports Bets. If you guys want to find me, that's where I post all my stuff with me and my brother. We do a show every single day, breaking down whatever sport's going on, either baseball, basketball, hockey, or football. So lots of stuff going on there. College football season starting up. I'm excited for that one too. But we're in the good part of the baseball season, and it should be a fun stretch down the last month of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's fun because the Mets actually giving you meaningful baseball in September, and we got a few days until September. Obviously, the New York Mets are going to be facing the Arizona Diamondbacks, the hottest team in baseball, over the last probably month and a half, maybe even 2 months. They just been outstanding. They just win every single day, no matter whoever it is. Whoever they play, it doesn't matter. It seems like they always find a way to win, and they're just dominant right now. And the Mets are going into a buzzsaw right now in Arizona. But the Mets find a way to play well against good teams. You know, they did split against the San Diego Padres, as we'll get into that in just a second. But the interesting thing here is that, look, everybody's going to be down. There's some people said, oh, the season's over after yesterday. It was a tough loss when Jose Butto came back out the next inning, gave up the 2-run homer to Profar. I wasn't even mad about the home run because any pitcher can give that up, leaving the ball over the plate, hit the ball over the right field. Well, what are you going to do there? The walking of the ninth hitter was really the killer for Jose Butto there. So I want to get your opinion on yesterday's game in particular, and we'll talk about the rest of the series. But did you believe that walking that 9-hitter was the killer right there, or did you feel like something else should have been done, like removing Jose Butto? What do you think?
I mean, I thought they should have gone to Diaz earlier on, but no, Butto's been one of our solid pieces of the bullpen. I'm not really overly concerned with it. San Diego's a very good team. Let's not crap talk on San Diego with that. Like, they're been one of the hottest teams along with Arizona, along with the Dodgers. That NL West has been very, very competitive, and we're seeing it now. Now, I will say, with the series, I said going into it, we're going to split. And I bet you, if you ask any Mets fan, hey, before game one, we're going to split this series, I'll take it. I will 100% take a split. Now, after we win the first 2 out of 3, maybe people are not saying that as much, but going into that one, I said as long as we split, that's a good series for me. And now go win the series in Arizona. I said going into this road trip, a 4-3 spot against San Diego, Arizona would be fantastic. I mean, 3-4 is not great, but at least you're not losing a lot of ground. And keep in mind, we're not really chasing the Padres and the Diamondbacks as much as we're trying to chase the Braves. These two teams have been the hottest teams in baseball since the trade deadline. Well, yeah, trade deadline and the All-Star break. So, I'm not as worried about the loss yesterday. Pitching looked great besides 2 mistakes. Butto leaving a pitch over the middle and Diaz leaving a slider over the middle for Jackson Merrill to absolutely hammer. And let's not sugarcoat this one. Jackson Merrill's the rookie of the year. He's one of the best players in baseball this year. So I'm not really overly concerned with it. Now we go into Arizona, and it's going to be a tough series, but definitely one that's manageable.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you got trusted guys coming out of your bullpen yesterday that Mendoza trusts, Met fans trust, right? It wasn't Ottavino in there. It wasn't, a Sean Reed Foley. It wasn't, your B or C guys that were in your bullpen. These are your A guys late in ball games. So, and again, 2 out of your 3 trusted guys that were in the game yesterday didn't do the job. right? They just didn't do the job, right? What are you gonna do? Go to Ottavino next time instead of Jose Buto because he gave up the home run? Absolutely
Never.
not. So look, Jose Buto. Look, I know there was a lot of conversation about and a lot of questions from blaming Mendoza, which I'm not really going crazy with that because look, Diaz gave up the home run in the ninth. He could have came in the eighth and gave up the home run to Profar, and he might not have pitched the ninth inning. Who knew? Maton or somebody else might have pitched the ninth inning, and we would have still lost the game. It's like a Monday morning quarterback after the result. Let's complain about who's going to come in and second guess the manager, which always happens in baseball. So look, you said it. Left the ball over the plate in the eighth. Diaz left the cement mixer in the ninth and right over the plate as well. So what are you going to do? You're just going to tip your cap. The Padres have been one of the best teams in baseball when it comes to comebacks during their.
I was about to mention that, yeah.
They're terrible runners in scoring position. They're terrible runners on base, but you keep them in the ball game. They're one of the best in baseball in coming back in games, specifically over their hot streak over the last month and a half since the All-Star break, probably even before that. So that's another thing. And I talked about it on my show in the morning yesterday that this team has a knack for coming back in games, especially when you keep it close. Look, every game was a blowout except for yesterday's game.
I'll say game one was not a blowout. Game one was 3-1, and then 5 runs in the ninth made it look a lot wider than it was.
I didn't see yesterday. I was a bit nervous about the game. I don't know why. I always felt like the entire game I felt nervous about that game. Game one, I didn't feel nervous at all. I know it was a late ball game, a late kind of late runs to look like a blowout for the score. I never was worried in game one for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it was just game one. Maybe I was just antsy with winning 3 out of 4 in game 4, and I was a little bit nervous. I was fine with game one. Like I didn't feel like the Mets were going to lose that ball game. I felt like not having the day off, going to San Diego, I thought helped this team, and I felt confident going into game one. Maybe that was it. Game 4 scared the hell out of me. Like there was a lot of Met fans, like you were talking about, like you were before the series started. You said that you were happy with the split. Yeah. Oh, we're going to be happy with the split. A lot of people thought we were going to lose 3 out of 4 or even get swept. That's where the Met fans' mindset is going into that series. And look, it's disappointing because the Braves lost yesterday. That's what the Braves would have won yesterday. We would have been 3.5 out. And then we would have been like, now we have to try to sweep the Diamondbacks and maybe even try to sweep the White Sox, even though it shouldn't be trying. It should happen, but who the hell knows? But
we're not sweeping them.
Yeah. But a split is a split. You didn't lose any ground going finishing up the San Diego series. Where you started is where you ended in that spot.
And that's the way I looked at it. Was we didn't lose any ground on the Braves. We played the Padres. They played the Nationals. We should have lost ground. And the fact that we didn't is crazy in itself. Also, I'll mention for game 4, the Mets left 8 runners on base. There, you could blame the pitching all you want. Offense was missing there too, because I know both Lindor, even though Lindor was the best player, the NL player of the week, and he's been awesome lately. He struck out with bases loaded, and so did Martinez. So you could look at the hitting all you want or the pitching all you want. Hitting didn't come through yesterday either.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You can't. I was noticing. I said it yesterday. And I even said it in the post game. We can blame the offense as much as we can blame, Buto and Diaz yesterday. Or if you wanted to blame Mendoza, the offense was the key, right? The issue was they had trouble this season scoring runs between the 4th and 7th inning. Yesterday, they got 2 runs in those innings. They didn't score nothing 1 through 3 in 8th and the 9th. And that hurt them, right? You said it. They had opportunities. The bases loaded with 1 out. Couldn't even get a sack flyover. They struck out. You can't do that. Nope. Put the bat on the ball. I don't know if you're big on analytics and you're not an average guy, and I don't know how you feel about strikeouts, but I always feel like putting the bat on the ball gives the defense an opportunity to make a mistake. And striking out doesn't help the situation at all. Especially your team. It just doesn't. Put the bat on the ball. Like you saw it the other day before Lindor hit the grand slam. Machado, you put the ball in play. Machado didn't catch the ball, right? Alonso put the ball in play, it hits the bag. Like
Yep.
stuff like that. Things can happen when you put the ball in play. You don't put the ball in play and you swing and miss, it's only benefiting the opponent. So it's frustrating because the way we lost, right? I always say it doesn't matter how you lose or how you win, is did you win? And you didn't. And it's irrelevant of how you lost because you lost. Like, I don't think anybody's going to go back and say, you remember on August 25th what happened? I mean, it's kind of late in the season, so you might remember it. But does somebody remember when the Mets were 0-5? Like, winning 1 out of 4 at home in the beginning of the year, that game could have mattered as well. You know, losing, just sweeping, getting swept by Seattle, getting swept by the Dodgers at home, right? You took one of those games, as I talked about yesterday on the post game. You didn't have to win the series. What if you would have won one game in each of those 3-game sets instead, or in the Dodgers series or the Mariners series? You have 70 wins right now. You would be a half a game in the loss, half a game out of a wild card spot instead of 2.5. That's how close everything could be. So with this game, with this series, it's overall frustrating because I think the Mets outplayed the Padres in this series, except for, you know, it just felt like the Mets were in control. Obviously, game 2 was a disaster. Blackburn didn't have it, but it seemed like 3 out of the 4 games, the Mets had control over this series. And that's why it's also so frustrating, because the Padres technically didn't deserve to split this series because they didn't play well at all. They left a tremendous amount on base the entire series, more than the Mets. So it sucks. It is what it is. Luckily they got a day off. I think it was a good day to have off, just to regroup and get to Arizona. But overall, this series with the Padres, what are you happy about overall with this team, player-wise or whatever? And what are you most concerned about when it comes to this, after this series going into the Arizona series?
I don't really think you could be concerned with, I mean, you could always say, you know, runners on scoring position wasn't too great and Starling Marte looked like crap. But a bunch of players struggled. Alvarez hasn't been hitting, which you get him hitting, that's when the Mets had a lot of success. Lindor can't do everything. Nimmo needs to step up more. Alonso needs to step up more. Like, you need your big hitters to go good. Pitching was great. I had no problem with the pitching throughout the entire series. I mean, Blackburn was injured, so it kind of he just got put on the IL or whatever. So you could tell that's probably why he had a bad start there. Pitching looked fine, which as long as the pitching looks good, the offense should be able to come around. I thought it was a great series for the Mets. I know they lost the last game. I know it was a split. We could have taken 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Splitting against one of the hottest teams in baseball right now in their own home ballpark, I would take that all day. I know a lot of Mets fans don't want to hear that. I know we want to take 3. Yeah, of course I want to take 3 out of 4. But going into it, splitting the series, perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, and majority of the time, most 4-game series end in a split. I think I saw a percentage of 84% of the 4-game sets in Major League Baseball are usually splits, right? It's rare that, you know, only 16% of the time, you know, there's actually 3 out of 4, and it's even less with a 4-game sweep. So, you know, I was talking about this, and I'm trying to like cool the waters a little bit in Mets land. When I keep on continuing to say, and I know people hate this talk about it, everybody goes into say, "Oh, we got to sweep this series. You got to sweep that series." If they win series and they have one more 4-game series against the Phillies, that I think that's the last 4-game series of the year, if I'm not mistaken. If you split that series and win the majority, not all, but the majority of your series, go into the last 31 games of the season, guess what? You'll have between 85 and 87 wins, give or take. If the Mets sweep a series, right, that even helps even more. But you're between 85 and 87 wins. It seems like 86, 87 wins is like that sexy number to get that third wild card spot. Because again, the Braves are playing today. They had a game in hand, but they won't anymore since the Mets are off. They would also have 31 games. So, you know, 17 more wins out of the 31 they have left. You know, that's a few games over 500. for the remainder of the season, they will have 87 wins. So that's where the Mets have to come in and be within striking distance when they get to that series against Atlanta, the second to last series of the year. So that's what they have to do, right? They're not in the driver's seat anymore. They can't control their own destiny. They need help. And you just hope that the Braves, lose 4 out of 6 and the Mets win, 5 out of 6, because the Mets haven't really gone on a winning streak in a while. Since the All-Star break, they haven't really had an extended winning streak. They need a 5-game winning streak, maybe even a 6-game winning streak. So if they get that, you're probably going to gain maybe a game or two during that stretch, unless the Braves, also go 5 in a row, 6 in a row. But they haven't been doing that either. They've been winning 3, losing 2, winning 4, losing 2. So they really haven't been going on extended losing streaks, like winning streaks, like the Padres and the Diamondbacks, who basically kind of ran away with the first, second wild card. So with that said, the Diamondbacks are badass right now. They're a dangerous team. They're a team that can really, it doesn't matter who they play. Like they're looking at the Mets like, we're going to kick their ass. We wonder, a Mets team that has choked in the past. This is a Mets core that hasn't gotten it done, hasn't got over that hump, lost the division in 2022 late in the season, got embarrassed in the wild card series in 2022. 2023, they hit under a shell and then bitched when they traded players at the trade deadline last year, and they complained about it to the media when it's their fault and nobody else's. And this year, they were 11 games under 500, starting 0-5 to start the season. They did fight back, but when the pressure got going again, and now nationally people are talking about the Mets, the pressure is on, because now you turn on the TV expecting them to win. Now there's expectation, and they kind of wavered a little bit with this core. Nimmo's a no-show, Alonso's a no-show. Basically Lindor and Vientos has been like guys that have stepped up almost the entire season. And, JD Martinez, well, like I always been talking about with JD Martinez, he's a guy who'll have one big hit in a game, and then his other 3 at-bats or 4 at-bats look terrible. Like, that's what JD Martinez is. He has a awkward swing, but he'll produce probably for 1 at-bat, and then after that just will be a no-show. So going into this Diamondback series, right, we're all thinking we need to take 2 out of 3. Losing 2 out of 3 is not going to be a good sign at all, because now you have to go into that White Sox series to sweep, and that's a dangerous game to play, regardless if they're the worst team in baseball and basically a single A team. They're still a major league ball club, on paper. It's not easy to sweep series. I don't care who it is. And with this Arizona Diamondback series, I want to get your thoughts with Arizona here. And what are you expecting from the Mets? We see the pitching matchups. It's looking like McGill is going to get that start in the 3rd game in replace of Blackburn. I know a lot of people don't want to see McGill again. I know a lot of people wanted to see a younger arm, but you're not going to get a younger arm at this point. At least McGill has the potential of pitching a solid game. You don't know anything about what young kid can come up and in a big moment and a very important series. You can't throw a kid to the fire like that. I don't think it's a smart idea. At least McGill has been there, done that before, even though Met fans can't stand him. What are your thoughts on this Arizona series as I see Hector just popped up?
I will say I think the Mets are getting a little bit lucky because there's no Zach Gallen and no Merrill Kelly. So I think that's going to be that's going to give the Mets a lot better of a chance not having to face in my opinion, the best 2 arms from the Diamondbacks. Now, coming into this, the Diamondbacks have won 6 straight games. They've won 12 out of 15, and they've just been on this crazy run since the All-Star break, and I kind of expected that. Like, this Diamondbacks team was riddled with injuries to begin the year. That's why they started off slow. And they've completely turned their season around. This looks like the Diamondbacks team that made the World Series last year. Oh, they're also without Walker and Marte are out, and they're still kicking everybody's ass. So this is definitely a very scary Arizona Diamondbacks team. Now, this is still a winnable series for the Mets. And you tend to notice the Mets kind of step up against better teams. I'm more worried about the White Sox series, to be honest, because that's where a series I think the Mets could get embarrassed. And I'm especially scared of the first game. But going back to the Arizona series, I think they have a couple of favorable matchups. Rodriguez has only pitched 3 times this year, so he's still getting in there. P. Fatty is what he is. He's a young pitcher that was really good in the postseason last year. He hasn't been crazy good this year. And then Nelson's a standard pitcher that's going to get you 5 to 6 innings. He's going to give up 3 to 4 runs. So I think that if McGill is starting against anybody, it's a good thing he's going up against Nelson. I think that's the weaker link of this 3 games for the Diamondbacks. Manaea and Severino have been great. I freaking love Manaea. I thought that was a very, very good pickup by the Mets in the offseason. I think this is definitely a winnable series for the Mets, and it's going to have to be. But don't sleep on this Arizona Diamondbacks team. Obviously, they've been one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you got two out of your 3 best pitchers, or 2 of your best pitchers in this series with Manaea and Severino. And McGill, I mean, at least he's not facing Fott or Rodriguez. And like you said, he's facing
Allen or Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. So, the pitching matchups, I wouldn't say favor the Mets, but I'd rather have Manaea and Severino than anybody else at this moment going into the this series. But yeah, going into the Padres series, the New York Mets, the Padres were red hot as well. And again, they outplayed the Padres even though they split the series. So I even said this as well. I 100% agree with you. I'm nervous about the White Sox series. My dumbass will be on the south side of Chicago rooting his team on and probably cursing them out if they don't do their job, what they're supposed to do in Chicago, as I'm dragging my ass to the south side of Chicago, not even the north side of Chicago. So, yeah, it is what it is. They got to step up here, right? It's a time for this team. It's time for certain guys. And I'm sick of mentioning the same guys over and over again, but we all know who they are. Specifically, Pete Alonso doing something that he hasn't done all season. How about stepping up a little bit more, right? I don't care about your little base hits with nobody on, right? Striking out with people on base, not doing the job, popping up, grounding out with people on base. He's basically a singles hitter, and every now and then he'll hit a solo home run. Never hits any home runs with people on base. Terrible runners in scoring position. I know the team sucked yesterday offensively, only got 2 runs, but it seemed like it's been, when the Mets score, it's the same guys over and over again taking care of business. And before we get to Hector, as I know Hector is so excited to talk about the San Diego Padres series and Arizona series, but they gotta show some heart here. They gotta fight. It was an unfortunate loss. You saw the camera pan to the dugout when Merrill hit that home run. They looked like they lost their puppy, which is understandable. But they got to step it up now. No excuses anymore. Next man up. If somebody doesn't do their job, they got to take 2 out of 3. That's it. It's just that simple. So Hector, how you doing, buddy? What is your feelings on the Padres series, and talk a little bit about the Dbacks series coming up?
Honestly, I'd rather not even talk about the Padres series. I'd rather not, because it is not going to go well with what's been going on here. I'm pissed. I'm not okay with 2 out of 4, none of that bullshit. All we got to do is win series from here now on. That's nonsense. The winning series stuff was a long time ago. This team needs to almost play perfect if you want to get into World Series. Now, if you're going to be one of these people that are going to tell me, oh, well, this team, they accomplished something. People were predicting 70 wins. They weren't ever expected to do anything. It's okay. Then that's up to you. I never subscribed to that bullshit. I always came into the season wanting to make the playoffs, and I'm going to be pissed when this team doesn't make the playoffs, and I'm pissed that they've squandered so many damn opportunities over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So anybody that wants to be okay with that, that's up to you. I'm not okay with it. So I don't want to speak about the Padres series. That shit yesterday was disgusting to me. Disgusting. And yeah, you can blame the hitting. You can talk about Mendoza. You can talk about, who wouldn't have signed up for the – I hate the sign-up bullshit. Yeah, ideally you want Buto and Diaz to finish that game. Ideally you do. But then you see the game that's playing out in front of you, and you make adjustments. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it really doesn't matter who anybody wants to blame. The people that were on
It's
the
a
mound.
team-wide thing. They fucking get the job done. They take turns not getting the job done anyways. It's a team-wide thing.
Yeah, it was a team lost effort yesterday specifically, and that's why it's so frustrating because like.
Although I'm sorry, Rob, you got a 2-0 lead. You could talk about the offense all you want. You get into the 8th inning with Buto and Diaz with a 2-0 lead, win the fucking game.
Yeah,
win
I
the
agree.
game.
Yeah, they didn't get the job
done.
done.
Go back now and blame the offense. That's what you want. You want to lead with those guys, right? So don't talk to me about running to scoring position and everything that they didn't do. They gave you a fucking lead.
Yeah,
in the 8th inning.
Absolutely.
Win the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, and look, you can blame anybody you want. It's just that they didn't get the job. Look, it's trusted guys in your bullpen that didn't get the job done. Look, you can't walk the number 9 hitter. I don't care who you are, trusted or not. You can't walk the number 9 hitter. And look, it's like a bloop in a blast. It was just a walk in a blast, right? Even if you didn't want Buto in the game, you still got to get it done, right? Step up. He hasn't been pitching well.
Was anybody surprised when he walked the number 9 hitter, Rob? Were you surprised when he walked the number 9 hitter after watching him pitch the 8th inning? Like, let's be for real. It was a miracle you got out of that.
No. Was I pissed? Yes. Because I felt like it was just inevitable after he walked the number 9 hitter. I don't care who would have came in the ball game. I thought it was gonna be a tie game. Like I felt that to the core. And I said it yesterday. I did not I was more pissed about the walk to the 9 hitter than I was the home run because anybody and their mother who was on that mound could have gave up that home run. You don't walk the number 9 hitter. I'm sorry. Why you would throw in, and this goes for Torrens, Buto, or whoever was calling pitches in the dugout. Why are you throwing breaking balls constantly to the number 9 hitter who's betting like 212? Throw fastballs. If he hits it over the wall, you still got a 1-run lead, and Buto would have came out of the game anyway, and you would have saw Diaz probably for profile. But the fact of the matter is, I don't understand the pitch setup, the pitch plan to a number 9 hitter. That kills me more than a home run because anybody can leave the ball over the plate. Why are you walking the number 9 hitter? I think it was a 7-8 pitch at bat, maybe even 9 pitch at bat. 7 of them were breaking balls. Why? How does that make you? I mean, a fucking little leaguer could understand not to do that. Like throw the ball over the plate. You have a 2-run lead. Why bring the tying run to the plate? It's just beyond me. And I was pissed at that point. And I didn't feel any confidence the Mets were going to win that game after that. He walked that because I didn't think Buto was going to get it done. I don't care if Mendoza would have brought in Diaz, Maton. I don't care who it was. It felt like the inevitable was going to happen yesterday because just that moment, it felt like all the confidence just completely came out the air, in my opinion. And it's just annoying because look, did anybody think that? I don't know about you, Hector. I know you were live during the game. Did you feel like going into the 9th inning tied that the Mets were going to win this ball game? Because I didn't. I did not feel confident at all. Oh. I didn't. I didn't feel good at all.
I don't know what I felt. I didn't feel like we were going to lose. Maybe because I didn't want to lose. I didn't feel like we were going to lose. I'd be lying to you if I said if I felt like we were going to lose. I'd be lying to you if I said like negative Met fans that it was inevitable, that they felt like it was going to tie the whole game. I'd be lying to you. I feel like we were going to win that fucking game.
I don't know. Not the way the offense was playing.
Why wouldn't I feel like we were going to win that game? You have a lead in the 8th inning with Buto and Diaz set up to pitch, which we all wanted, which I was calling for from the 4th inning. All my life, from the 4th inning, I'm saying, okay, let's go, Quintana. Get me to the 6th or 7th, and I'm throwing Buto out there for 2. If I have to, maybe 3. Damn it, we have a day off on Monday. I don't give a shit. I need to win this damn game, and I'm going to finish it with Diaz.
Yeah.
And these 2 assholes come in and don't do shit. Don't get the job done.
Yeah, and you brought up Quintana. You can't lose a game when Quintana gives you that effort yesterday. That's even worse. Oh, my God. It's crazy to me, man. Tim, Quintana gives you that effort. What do you get?
Normally a win.
Oh, my God. Like, people wanted them out of the
seven shutout innings. Yeah. And
I mean,
yes. It's very frustrating to watch that.
My bad, Tim. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing great. We're having fun here.
Don't ask me how I'm doing.
I wasn't going to. I kind of figured it out. No, I understand it's very frustrating. And that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to get frustrated over this shit. It's not fun watching our team get walked off on. And at the same time, it was 2 mistakes that lost us the game. Well, that's what a lot of people will say. It was a lot of mistakes. And I know we had the lead going into the 8th inning and everything. We could have had a lot bigger of a lead. Both JD Martinez and Lindor striking out with bases loaded. That was big opportunities to score more runs. If all of a sudden we're up 5-0, 6-0 going into the 8th, those home runs don't really matter as much. We probably don't see Diaz, though. We probably don't see Buto as much. But
Out of
no, but if all of a sudden offense comes around with those leaving bases loaded stranded twice?
Yeah.
That was my big issue. Yeah, they still had a lead, a 2-run lead, but this is if anybody's watched the San Diego Padres, they've been doing this shit all year. Like they've come back like 10 times since the All-Star break, 12 times since the All-Star break. I saw them do it against the Marlins like 3 times in a row. Where it's the 8th inning, they're losing. Let's live bet the Padres because they're coming back. And they keep coming back. So we got to know that, but we put the best arms out there. They left 2 breaking balls over the middle, and we got screwed. At the end of the day, we got to just put that series behind us, and we got a even hotter team in Arizona coming up. And I mean, you got to win these games. And then you got Chicago coming up. You need to win those games. You go home to face the Reds and the Red Sox. You need to win those games. And looking at it, Atlanta has a tough schedule coming up with Minnesota and Philly again. So this is a good opportunity. We win this series versus Arizona. We need to sweep the White Sox. We could be looking to be right back up there with Arizona, with Atlanta by the end of the weekend. Just because of the strength of schedule.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And look, the race to the playoffs is obviously in full effect, right? 31 games to go. Here's a good thing. The Mets, it's probably a 2-team race for that 3rd wild card. The Mets and the Braves, right? The Giants are 2.5 games behind the Mets, right? It's feeling like it's going to be the Mets and the Braves going forward. I'm not worried about the teams behind us. I know some people are worried about the Giants. I'm not worried about the Braves. Here's the good thing about having the Braves in your division and still being able to play them in the last 31 games. Keep within striking distance. If you get ahead of them, great. If you're tied with them, you want to be within striking distance when you get to that 3-game series, because obviously you have everything you need in your hands. All you got to do is beat them, and you're going into the last series of the year, hopefully ahead, or at least a half a game or a game, or even ahead of them, or tied, whatever. That's what you got to do. I know, here's my problem with this team right now. Since the All-Star break, they need a winning streak. They need a 5-6 game winning streak, right? They've been winning 3, losing 2, winning 2, losing 1, winning 1, losing 1. They've been going back and forth since the All-Star break. Haven't really, got that, 4 or 5 game winning streak where you might gain a few games against the Braves if they lose. Like you said, they face Minnesota and the Phillies. This is an opportunity here for the Mets. I know you got Arizona, that's tough, but they've been behind the 8 ball before. Get the job done, right? I've talked about it for years. I'm not sure if I trust this core enough in pressurized situations. Like Lindor, he's Cleveland Lindor right now. Like that's how good he's been, right? I'm not worried about him, but I am worried about Nimmo. I am worried about Alonso. I am worried about McNeil. This is your core. These are the guys that have failed in the past. Those guys need to step up. Like, I don't know if you can survive with Vientos and Lindor only doing the job and JD Martinez scattering good efforts. Like, who else are you going to put it? Like, we're going to rely on Bader? We're going to rely on Tyrone Taylor? Marte? Probably not. Those guys that I just mentioned need to step up. I'm sick and tired of saying it, but when are we going to talk about in the offseason when we didn't make the playoffs, and we're going to look at the final numbers and say, wow, they actually sucked. Because finally, Met fans are finally against Pete Alonso because how bad he's been. And he's the most frustrated. Look, McNeil hasn't been good this year. Nimmo had one good month and a half this year. That's frustrating. But at least Nimmo carried the team for a little while. McNeil, coming out of the All-Star break for like 2-3 weeks, basically did his job and carried a team. Alonso hasn't done it all season, right? It's time for him to do it. Like, if there's no other time. You got 31 games to go. You know, you got 6 weeks left in the season, 5 weeks left in the season. Get it done. I'm sick and tired of saying it. He pisses me off. I mean, oh my God. People get excited when he hits a base hit. Like, he don't even hit solo home runs anymore. Like, God forbid, runners in scoring position. That's the last guy. Could a pitcher bat? Because, I mean, put somebody up there that can actually do something with runners in scoring position, because I don't have no confidence in Pete Alonso anymore, right? I hope he shuts me up. I want egg on my face because I'm sick and tired of a guy that basically most Met fans, not all, but most of them were kissing his ass all season. Over the last couple of seasons, I've gotten killed. Me and Hector went at it earlier in the season about it, right? Even when Lindor had a bad month and a half, right? But he completely turned his season around. MVP candidate. I'm sick and tired of this guy. Basically, it sounds like now he's giving the Boris treatment of me, saying he's a 40 home run guy this year, which he's on pace. He wasn't. He's not very good. He shouldn't have been an all-star. He's probably one of the worst players on this team overall as one of your big players on this team. I'm sick of it. Your team's in the playoff race. I've seen it too many times. I seen it in September of 2022. When Marte went down, he was the guy that needed to step up, did not. Last year, he bitched and moaned to the media about the trade deadline that the Mets sold, yet he's part of the problem of why they sold. And then this year, he's basically, having an okay season, probably his worst of his career, other than 2021. So, Hector, here's what I'm saying. Are you confident? Not that obviously you want this team to make the playoffs. You always have that mindset, make the playoffs. You don't care what the expectations were. But do you trust the core and this team, the last 31 games of the season, to make the playoffs? Deep down in your soul, do you believe? I think he froze.
Do I trust him? Why would I trust him? Why would I trust him? They've shown me no reason to trust him. Am I hoping they do it? Yeah, but that doesn't mean I trust them. Yeah. Do I think they can be better? Do I think Pete Alonso is better than what he's played? Yes, he is. I don't give a shit what you say. I think he's better than what he's played. You think he's better than what he's played.
Absolutely.
Whether you like him or not. My thing with Lindor wasn't that I hated Lindor or like you like to pit them against each other. I don't do that because I need them all to be good. My thing was I needed Lindor to be better. He's become better. At that time, when you wanted to kill Nimmo was good. Now Nimmo fucking stinks.
Yeah.
Right? So am I confident they can do it? No. Do I want them to do it? Do I think they can be better? Absolutely. I think Nimmo can be better. I think Peter Alonso can be better. I think Francisco Alvarez can be better. Are they going to be? I don't know. Why? I don't know. Right now, what's going around is everybody's blaming Chavez for ruining Francisco Alvarez. Eric Chavez ruined Francisco Alvarez because whatever. We'll talk about that if you want to talk about it. But just to answer your question, confident, no. Confident, no. No.
Yeah, and Tim, I'll get to you in a second. And yeah, I you know what? I do want to, since you bring up Chavez, I know that was like the talk on social media over the last, today basically, and even last night. I mean, okay, they wanted him to stop pulling the ball. I don't understand why changing somebody that, I know they wanted to get his average up a little bit. That's understandable, but with a guy that you needed the power from going into the season, even though who knew about Vientos, who knew about Lindor basically being a 30-30 guy, who knew about Nimmo showing this much power. Alvarez was needed. So I understand what they were trying to do, but to completely change the approach on a kid who basically has 150 million things to worry about as a catcher. Not only that he's coming back from that thumb injury.
Who
Like,
changed his approach?
Stop, huh?
Who changed his approach?
Well, apparently, the whole Eric with the Chavez thing, they talked about him not pulling the ball so much. That was
Chavez said there's some outside influences that are getting him, trying to force him to pull the ball now and go more for home runs.
Correct.
So how did Chavez change his approach?
That's what they were talking about.
Didn't we always hold on when Alvarez came up? Were we talking about? Oh, this guy. He hits the ball all over the place. He doesn't need to pull the ball.
Yeah,
were we talking about that?
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't see what was the issue of trying to change anything. Like I think this is where
that's what I'm saying. So what do you get that Chavez tried to change him instead of
we
maybe
wanted him
just
to stop pulling
keeping
the
him
ball
focused up the middle instead of doing what people are trying to get him to do?
Well, that's why it didn't make sense to me either, because I mean, Tim, you can chime in. I don't. That's what I thought. I thought Alvarez was hitting the ball, spraying the ball over the field. His power was to basically right center, like.
Okay, and if you read what I don't think people understood what Chavez said. He's saying outside influences are trying to get him to pull the ball to hit home runs. Outside influences are trying to get him to pull the ball to hit home runs. That's not Chavez changing his approach.
I'm trying to figure out now because, okay, I did read it wrong. Okay,
that was the quote.
So here's my problem.
People took exception because Chavez said, yeah, he hit 25 home runs, but he could be better. But hold on. Did you not think he could be better?
Absolutely.
Because I thought he could be better. Did Francisco Alvarez himself, when they did the exit interviews or whatever, and they asked him, so what are you looking to do in the offseason, Francisco? I want to be a better hitter. So everybody thought he could be better, but when Chavez says, yeah, you hit 25 home runs, but you can be better, that's taken as a knock. Oh my God, he's killing the kid. He's destroying him. Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's haven't had a good season this year. So whatever the influence is in-house, out of the clubhouse, doesn't matter. He hasn't performed this year. It's a huge problem. What did he have? 7 home runs this year?
Oh yeah, he definitely.
Guys should be
talking about it
25 home runs easily. I mean, Vientos picked up the slack, but just imagine if Alvarez was showing that power he did last year. Who knows where this team would be? I mean, that's a tremendous amount of offense that is lacking right now, Tim. I mean, it's frustrating because we know how good Alvarez can be. We all thought he could be a better hitter, average-wise, and we didn't think the power was going to be an issue. Now, is it the thumb that is really causing him to have problems with a little bit more power? I guess you can say that. I don't think anybody's going to use that excuse. Even Alvarez.
No, that could be. It could be the injury. It could be the injury.
Yeah, Tim. Sorry.
No, it could have it definitely probably has an impact. Even if it's fully healed from it, it's still probably a little bit of an issue. He doesn't look. I mean, watching him, he does not look uncomfortable. He looks fine at the plate, but it's still a little bit concerning. I think he should go back to trying to hit for power. I know.
Let me ask you guys this, Tim. I'm sorry. Let me ask you guys this though. How many times have you're watching the game, right? And Alvarez takes a swing, and you're like, dude, why are you trying to hit a 7-run homer? Why are you trying to hit the ball from San Diego to New York, right? Why don't you come it down? How many times have you not had just that natural reaction, like, dude? But we're gonna say that Chavez is wrong.
No,
and I'm not here trying to defend Chavez. I don't know what the hell is going on. Right? Because for the most part, the approach seems out of whack sometimes, you know?
Well, I mean,
team-wide.
But that's what I was just going to say. You know, it seems like it's kind of team-wide with the guys that are struggling. You know, look at Alonso always swinging for the fences. As you know, if he doesn't swing at that slider outside all the time, he's swinging for the fences. The same thing with Nimmo. Nimmo swung yesterday, and he fell to his knee. When do you see Nimmo off balance like that? That, you know, what it's getting in their heads at this point, whoever is influencing them or not, or it's just they're just in their own head. The fact is I don't know if it's a team approach. I don't know if it's individual approach where, you know, power seems like the sexy thing in baseball nowadays. So everybody seems to just try to do it. But Nimmo never swings off balance, and you see him swinging to his knees. You know, Alonso, it seems like every time he's trying to hit a ball like Alvarez, 500 feet, every single time. And like sometimes you don't have to do that. A sack fly can get you a run in. Yeah, sorry, Tim, you can keep going.
No. And keep in mind, Alvarez is still very young, so he's going to take influence from a lot of people. And especially if he during the exit interviews are saying, I can get better, he's going to listen to a lot of people, not just Chavez. He'll probably listen to outside sources because, hey, any piece of information that he could use to become a better hitter, you better believe he's going to try to use it. And at the end of the day, he's still going to be a really good hitter. He's still very young. He still has a lot of things to work out with the swing. He mentioned that in the exit interviews. I still think he's going to be a really good hitter. He's just got to get a couple more things under control. He's still a major league hitter, though. He is still strong enough to be a major league hitter and an everyday player, especially with how good his defense has been. And at the end of the day, I will take his defense all day.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not down on Alvarez or anything like that. I'm disappointed in the fact that he hasn't been as good. I also wonder, Tim, I think I've told Rob this. I wonder if some of his offensive struggles is because he focused so much on his defense in the offseason. He focused on learning English. He focused on so many things, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And maybe, not on purpose. He probably thought he was working on his offense, but not as much, not as diligently maybe as he did everything else. That could be some of it. It could be some more jinx. It could be the injuries. It could be everything. And now the worst thing is in baseball and sports is when you struggle and then you get in your head, right? And you want to fix all the struggles with one at bat, with one swing, which is impossible to do. Yep. So and you would think, wow, and it was even in the article too, where they're like, yo, we thought the home run that he hit the other day, the game-winning home run, was going to unlock him. And instead, he was like 0 for 15 after that with like 8 strikeouts. You understand what I'm saying? If anything, it just made him maybe go even for more home runs.
In order for him to get out of his head, I don't think it's going to take home runs. I think it's going to take.
No, that's what I was going to say.
I think it's hitting a gapper. Hitting one that goes through a hole in the infield. Yeah. Just getting base hits is going to change his mentality a lot. And eventually those line drives that he's going to hit are going to increase in launch angle, and they're going to go out. So this is Alvarez is still he's got to get something right with his mind. He's still a young player. He still has plenty of time to kind of build into that. I still believe in Alvarez. And I know me and my brother talked about it this morning with re-signing players. I want the Mets to sign Alvarez long-term. I definitely think he is going to be part of this core, and they need to make him part of this core. He is good enough, and once he figures this stuff out, he's going to be really strong. He still has a lot to figure out, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just put in Hayden right now. So we've been going through the topics here. We'll get your thoughts on the Padres series, the Dbacks series, and the race to the playoffs right now. Hayden, how you doing? What are your thoughts on this Padres series, and how you feel going into that Dbacks series?
Yo, what's going on, guys? I apologize for coming in late. Been back at school for about a week now at DeGrom University, as everyone likes to call it. So, just kind of lost track of time. I do apologize, but yeah, it's good to be here for the end. Mets Padres series. It started off on a good note, ended on a sour note. I feel like that's kind of the moral of the story with the Mets. I think that's definitely safe to assume. But, we saw from the Padres series, very good pitching, minus that Blackburn start. Pitching wins championships, pitching wins series. It's going to be, important and a imperative thing for them down the line is that their pitching can hold up and give quality starts. And we saw they're going deep to games, 6-7 innings. That Peterson start, Severino start. So Quintana too, even struggled towards the end, but still. So it goes to show you, when your starters are going deep into games and your offense could, put on a couple runs. It puts you in a very good position to win series. I'm not asking for sweeps. I'm asking for series wins. Take 2 or 3. Sweeps are nice, but there's not a guarantee. You'll sweep a team.
You better sweep the fucking White Sox.
But overall, I liked what I saw from the Padres series. Lindor looked great. I'm assuming you guys talked about him. He's been really good, shortening up that swing. player of the week. Tip of the cap to him. If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani, he'd probably be the National League MVP 100%. So, unfortunate that Shohei's around, but hey, I mean, still good both hitters, so I'm sure he'll get plenty of recognition. So, good job to Lindor there. Alonso's looking good. I mean, he's, definitely coming out of a slump. We got to get Nimmo there too. But Alvarez is the one candidate who we definitely need to discuss. But otherwise, yeah, I know I kind of gave a mid rundown of the Padres Met series, but overall, I mean, started off high, ended on a sour note, but keep the positivity, keep the good vibes in Arizona. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I already asked these guys, Hayden. Obviously the race to the playoffs, 2.5 games out of a wild card spot, 31 games to go. Do you feel confident that this team's going to make the playoffs? Do you feel confident in this team, in this core, that they can prevail and get this team over the top and make the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a 50-50. I mean, there's times where I like this team, and then there's times where I hate this team. And I think that's just a more story for the Mets this season. But if everyone does their job, at least 75%, if the pitching is going to go out there and pitch like how they did in San Diego, quality starts, 6-7 innings, 1 to 2, 3 runs. Your offense does their job. They hit with runners in scoring position. They hit with 2 outs. Fundamental hitting comes into play. Then absolutely. But, if they're going to go out there and, your starters are going, 4 1/3, you're going, 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position, blowing leads, walking guys, stop walking the 9-hitter. That drives me absolutely ballistic. The walks have calmed down, but still managed to walk at the worst possible time. If they do what they need to do, they can make it. Do I trust this team right now? Potentially. I think there's sometimes I do. There's sometimes I don't. So we'll have to see when it comes to that. But I don't see the Mets passing the Dbacks or Padres. Ever since the second half, they've just been red hot. The Arizona got a lot of key players back from injury. Eduardo Rodriguez is one candidate. And he's been really good for them. Same for the Padres. I mean, their bullpen. Padres bullpen, has been lights out. They pretty much bought the most elite bullpen you could at this trade deadline. So we'll see. I really think it's going to come down to the Braves. And I don't know if the Mets have another series with the Braves.
And
probably
second to last of the year.
It's the last series of the year.
Second to last. Brewers is the last.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? But yeah, it'll probably come down to that nonsense like it did in 2022. We'll see. Right now, I'm kind of 50-50 with this team. I think if everyone does their job, 75%, they could make it. But if they're going to sit there and do all the things like I said, then, the odds are going to be very small. But we'll see. Hopefully, I hope they make it. It'd be nice. It'd be quite the story. You're at rock bottom in May, and even you just get to the playoffs. I'm not asking for a World Series, and I know Met fans and some other fan bases, they have different agendas. The Mets, since being around since 1962. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've only been in 10 MLB postseasons. Just get to the playoffs, and then what happens there happens. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is, if this doesn't happen for us playoff wise, we're going to look back on the millions of walks that we've given up that cost us games, as we saw yesterday. That kind of led to the disaster that happened in the 8th and the 9th. Yeah, look, regardless of what your expectations were going into the season, the fact is you have 31 games left to go and you're in the mix.
Yep.
And look, I'm not saying to be positive. I'm not saying to believe in this team, but you're going to be turning on the TV every day. If you're not home, you're out and about. You're going to be checking the scores at every moment you can. Tell your girlfriend to shut up. Put it to the side. Baseball is important, right? Just worry about the Mets, okay? You're going to find a way to figure out find the score, watch the game, or the games in Hector's case, as he's the only one in New York on this roundtable right now. As me and Tim are in North Carolina and Hayden's in Florida right now. Like, enjoy it. Like, I know it's frustrating, and a lot of people believe this team was not going to win more than 75 games. You got a hell of a lot more than you expected, but I'm going to give a little, I would say, I don't want to say false hope, but I guess that's the only words I have, is that they surprised us fighting back 11 games under. They surprised us going 0-5 to start the season. I was with Hector during that first 2 series of the year, watching games and cursing out Ottavino and cursing out this team. I was hearing Hector on the other side of the section in the game just yelling at Ottavino. It was hilarious. They fought back multiple times. Do I think they can do it again? God, I hope so. Right? We all want it to happen. Right? I wish, wanting and, throwing all that want to the clubhouse would make an effect, but we can only do so much, right? We can complain, we can cheer, we can bitch and moan on YouTube. That's basically all we got, right? It's going to come down to the guys in the clubhouse, right? I wanted to get your take. I know this probably is not going to make or break the Mets' last 31 games, but with Brett Beatty, I thought Brett Beatty was going to be one of the guys that was going to be called up in September. Obviously, he broke his hand, probably out for the rest of the season. He ain't going to be available. I'm going to get everybody's opinion here because I think it's interesting. Who do you think the Mets are going to call up to help this team in September? I'm curious to get everybody's thoughts. Tim, I'll start with you. Who do you think? Because I thought it was going to be Brett Beatty. I think he, the way he's been hitting. I know we can hit AAA pitching. We all know that. But they were probably going to bring him up, bring an extra bat in this team, see if you get lightning in a bottle. Who do you think the Mets are going to, or David Stearns is going to bring up to this team to help him out during the stretch run in September?
I would love to see Luis Angel Acuna. The Mets are going to bring up DJ Stewart. You know they are. And I know it sucks. That's what they're going to do because they want a veteran in there. They want somebody who has experience and stuff in the major leagues to come down the stretch. Didn't we pick up Eddie Rosario? I think that might be a name that might pop up in the Mets.
Bradley. Don't forget Jackie Bradley.
Jackie Bradley's been going off too. So there are some veteran names. They're not the prettiest of names. I know everybody wants to see the Luis Angel Acuna come up, and I would love to see it. It's not going to happen. I know Paul is saying Drew Gilbert. I would love to see it. It's not going to happen. Blake Tidwell, I would love to see it. It is not going to happen. They're going to bring up players that have experience in the major leagues, especially when they want to try to make a postseason rush of trying to go after the Braves for that last spot. So that's going to be DJ Stewart, unfortunately. That might be Eddie Rosario, or that might be Jackie Bradley Jr. It's not going to be a young guy. I would love it to be a young guy. It's not going to be. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, come on. My dreams will come true if DJ Stewart comes back on this team. Why not?
His 167 average is beautiful. I love it.
It gives Met fans somebody to complain about other than Pete Alonso, right? They'll throw Pete Alonso and not worry about him, but they'll DJ Stewart. I said this in the group chat, Hector and Hayden. You guys can vouch for me here. What did I say? I want DJ Stewart back so everybody can bitch about DJ Stewart than other things because they always need a scapegoat. It seems like a fan base always needs a scapegoat, and DJ Stewart is the perfect guy. It's like Vogelback 2.0 here. Like, it's perfect. So, Hector, who do you want to see up to help this team? Because obviously guys are going to come up. You want a little bit more pitching in the bullpen? Maybe, hopefully somebody else in the rotation with Blackburn being out. Is it going to be continuing to be McGill? Or who would you think that you would like to see up to help this team in September? Not McGill.
Well, it's going to be McGill. McGill's going to start, which I think they should just skip. They should skip that start. They could stay on rotation, skip that start, and everybody will still be on regular rest.
With the off day, yes.
Because of the off day. But they're probably not going to do that, right? I haven't been keeping up as much with the minor leagues to say bring this guy up as a pitcher, so I don't even have anyone for you. I could give a fuck who they bring up as a pitcher, honestly. Now, as far as the position player, and the reason I keep using the F word is because somebody made a comment about it that all I say is F word every other word, so I got to make him happy.
Keep saying it; it's fun.
Of course. The Acuna, I mean the position play thing came up last night during the live, and I was like, you know what? Thinking about it, I would say Acuna is the guy because, like, who you really gonna bring up and where you gonna play him? So you bring up Acuna and you could use him as a pinch runner. We see a lot of teams do that late in the season and in the playoffs. Bring a guy that's basically is gonna run. You're gonna put him in as a pinch runner, right? And then late last night, looking through here, I'm fucking pissed off still. And I run into the Rico Bronya with my guy Evan Roberts. I'll give him a plug, the Rico Bronya podcast. And he brought up the same thing. And he expanded on it even more than I did on my live. But it was basically the same thought. And he asked what I think Amici said, oh, why would you bring up Acuna? Why are you gonna play him over Iglesias and McNeil? Why would you bring up any of these guys? Where are these guys? Who are you gonna bench to play Drew Gilbert? Don't tell me Brandon Nimmo because I'll break this fucking screen.
No, definitely not.
Who are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, you bring up Jackie Bradley Jr., who's he gonna play over? Who are you gonna pinch hit for? Who are you gonna pinch hit for with DJ Stewart? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's none of those guys. Like, you don't really need that per se. You already have all of that. If one guy is sitting, you got the other guy to pinch hit. You already have that on this team. So why not bring up a guy like Acuna who gives you an element that you really don't have much of, which is speed?
Good point. Yeah, and again, they don't have any place to play, but you know what? If they come up and do the job, you'll find a place for them, just like we talk about all the time, right?
But you need an opportunity to do the job, right? But you're going to get an opportunity to get a job? You need an opportunity to do the job, though. Where's the opportunity coming from is what we're trying to say, though,
but did Iglesias have an opportunity? He did. It wasn't really a spot for him. I know McNeil wasn't playing well, but technically wasn't really.
When he came up,
McNeil wasn't playing well, but again, he had to play well to remain on this team. He was basically an afterthought until he started to play great.
But there was an opportunity for Iglesias to play, though. The opportunity was there.
True.
You're bringing somebody up now. Like, who are you really benching to play anybody?
I agree. That's the issue. That's why I brought it up, because I know I caught a little bit of your live. I caught around that time when people started talking about who you're going to bring up going forward. And that's why I want to
say hi.
No, I didn't. I was driving, actually. Fuck, I want to say hi to you. I didn't.
Exactly. I hear you. You go to the people, though. The people like you.
How with them too? No,
the people bring you up all the time.
Oh,
I loves
they do.
You up.
And it's mostly negative. I know. It's all right. I had the Padre fans coming at me in the comments yesterday. All of a sudden they show up out of nowhere. So yeah, well, that's why I wanted to bring it up. And Hayden, I want to get your thoughts. Who do you? I know you're really involved with the minor leagues and all that stuff and the players. Who would you bring up to help this team in September?
Yeah, I mean, right now, you guys kind of said it, and I'm going to echo it. I mean, it's Luis Angel Acuna. I mean, I think like you guys said, he offers speed, which is very much needed at this point this season. As well as, great defense, in the later half of the game. When it comes to those situations, you're coming to the games where, really every inning matters. You're in a playoff hunt, you're 2.5 games back. I mean, every at bat, every pitch really is going to matter. And we're going to look back at that and say, oh, maybe we could have made it because of that, or, oh, we would have missed it because of that. So I would like Luis Angel Acuna. People bring up Drew Gilbert, whoever, but, kind of Hector said it, who's he going to play over? I mean, Nimmo. Maybe if you want to make the case for Marte, if he starts slowing down a little bit, he's been a little iffy at the plate lately, taking some pretty unorthodox swings. Maybe that could be an argument people could make over. But he's still going to be on the roster, so it's not like you're sending him down. But if it's DJ Stewart or someone, I think I'm going to be very upset. I think Stearns and the front office is going to get a lot of heat towards it, and as they should. I mean, there's no need for Vogelbach 2.0 to be on this roster. I mean, he essentially offers nothing, Stewart. I mean, he's mid at best in the outfield, and offensively, I mean, he doesn't hit for power. He doesn't even swing the bat. He's like Vogelbach, takes 3 pitches down the middle, and that's it's unacceptable. I mean, we need competitive at bats, and DJ Stewart does not offer that. Maybe Jackie Bradley Jr., sure, but then like Hector said it, I mean, what, over Nimmo, over Bader, over Taylor. I mean, you have a 4, arguably 5 with McNeil, 5-man outfield.
And Winker, don't forget Winker.
And Winker too. So you really don't need a 6. That's silly. So I would say the infield, really, and I would say Luis Angel Acuna. I mean, keep him on if you want to have him a pitch run later in the game when it comes to those dire situations. Have him, play in, the later parts of the game, some defense at second base. I wouldn't be against it right now. I don't really see them calling up a pitching prospect. I don't really think they would want to mess around with that now. I don't want them to call up McGill. I don't think they will. Depending on how the whole news goes with Paul Blackburn, that may be the correspondent.
He's on the IL.
Forget about McGill's not coming up as one of the extra guys. McGill's coming up Wednesday, brother. Forget about that.
Yeah, he's pitching game 3.
Thursday.
Yeah,
probably.
Thursday. McGill will be here.
But,
I think Amizi brought up a good name, though. I don't know how you feel about it. Yeah, with Fujinami, unfortunately, he's not pitching well, but that would be the guy to come and bring that.
That would be the ideal guy.
But that would be the arm. You know what I'm saying?
He'll walk the whole ballpark.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He walks the ballpark. You can't bring up a guy that is going to do the same thing that every freaking other guy in his bullpen has been, this pitching staff has been doing walking the ballpark. You just can't.
Straight from the ground.
Like, can DJ Stewart pitch? Maybe he'll throw strikes.
Another interesting, someone mentioned it in the comment. A couple people was Brandon Sprout. I mean, maybe. I don't really think they would want to do that to him. I mean, he's only made 2-3 starts in AAA, so I don't think.
And I don't think he's done too well, right? I don't
think they want to mess around with him. Let him develop, let him finish the year off in AAA, and maybe come in March we'll be talking if we'll make the roster in spring training. We'll see. But right now, my number 1 is Luis Angel Acuna. I doubt it'll happen. It'll probably be Vogelbach 2.0 or someone, but Acuna if it was up to me.
Yeah, so and that's that's the interesting thing, because it seems like every year you can talk about, all right, this one guy in the minors could be brought up and he can help this team because he can fill a spot. Not this year. That's why it's so frustrating, because this team should be better than what they are. Because
think about all the things we were promised about these prospects in the farm system, and now we got this great farm system, Rob, and that's why I get frustrated when people talk about prospects in the farm. Because look. Is there really anything to be excited about? Is there really anything to be excited about? Is there anyone really that you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this guy in 2025 is going to help this team be better?
I mean, yeah, we could say that, but we really don't know. But that's why I'm always pissed at the trade deadline, that when they say, oh, you can't give up your future. The fuck you can. How many times do the Mets have opportunities to make the playoffs in their history? You got to stop squandering them. You got to stop. I'm not saying to give up 5 out of your 6 top prospects and completely blow up your farm system. But the Mets could have easily gave up 3 of their top 10 and made this team much, much better. They got marginally better with the moves. Like I was okay with the moves they made, right? But they were B and C moves. They weren't A or they weren't even B moves for that matter. They were kind of C moves. Making maybe 1 or 2 B moves, possibly an A move. Who knows how much difference it could have made than marginal improvements. That's why I'm always frustrated. I bitched about it in 2022. Everybody knows about that. And people are like, oh, who are you going to trade for? Well, I said it time and time again. There was enough guys that you could have went after. I talked about Josh Bell. Everybody's like, oh, Josh Bell wasn't that good for the Padres. No, but he killed the Mets in the playoffs. Right? The Padres got him. Right? Wouldn't it have been better him on the Mets than the Padres? Who knows how it would have turned out? You can't just say, JD Martinez didn't get traded and they were concerned about his back, but look at his second half numbers. They were pretty decent. Who knows what that's going to mean? It's not saying that they would have improved, they would have hit the ball like crazy in 2022, but you know what? It might have gave a little bit of protection to guys that were struggling once Marte was missing in September. That's why when people talk about, oh, you can't give up the future for, a team that might not do anything. Like people saying, why make there's some Hector knows this. There's some people that say right now, why do you want the Mets to make the playoffs? It's not like they're gonna win. Have you watched baseball the last couple of seasons? 2 third wildcard teams made the World Series the last 2 seasons. The Phillies and the Diamondbacks. So don't tell me that a marginally good team or an average team can't make the World Series. It's getting hot at the right time. The Major League Baseball playoffs are like the NHL playoffs now. Get in, anybody can win. And there's no great team this year. The Dodgers, I mean, they have Ohtani. They basically signed everybody in this offseason. Have they been better than they were last year? They're about the same way. They're about the same record-wise that they were the last couple of seasons. Why does anybody trust them? Right? The Padres have been underperforming for the last 3 seasons. Right? Is there any great team going into this playoffs? Probably not. Everybody's beatable. You could talk about the Astros last year or a couple of years ago. There was a couple of teams that were like, wow, I don't want to face this team, but they also lost. So just get in, right? The trade deadline happened. You can't change it. I was mad about it, but it wasn't terrible. They did a hell of a lot more than what they did in 2022. So I guess that's an improvement. But it's going to come down. I don't care who you would have brought in here. It's going to come down to Alonso, Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, those guys. You need at least 3 out of the 5, maybe even 3 out of 6 step up at the same time. You can't have Lindor and Vientos do everything. They can't hit every batter in 9 slots. There's only 2 guys. Where's the other 7? Right? Martinez got to get going. Nimmo's got to get going. Alonso's got to get going. Those are the guys.
Who just made an appearance? Did you see who just made an appearance?
Mr. France himself, CP.
The Globetrotter,
the World Tour guy.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
He'll be back next week.
You took some time out of your time in France for us. We feel special.
I know, right? It's probably like the middle of the night over there, and I don't know. It's probably midday. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
It must have been ringing in his sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what time it is, but
so CP is there. He's on his world tour, enjoying himself. His last summer weeks. So he'll be back, like he says in the comments, next week. So to finish up final thoughts, guys, I'll start with Tim and go down the line, and then I'll finish it up. Tim, final thoughts on this overall Mets team, 68 and 63. I'm doing the math, right? I'm sorry. Before I say anything, the last 10 games is 6-4, not 4-6. I was trying to put stuff together quickly. That's my fault. Nobody brought that up because usually I always do typos. But bad job by you guys in the comments, guys. But Tim, final thoughts: 68 and 63, 2.5 games out of a wild card, ready for Arizona. Final thoughts on his team. The last 31 to go.
All right, I'm going to take a positive side to this because I know when Hector goes next, he's going to absolutely shit talk. I'm overly ecstatic that we're actually still competitive right now. Like I'm a bettor right now. I have the Mets under 82.5 wins. I thought the Mets were going to be dog shit this year. I thought the pitching was bad. I thought that I did not know what we were going to do. I thought we were going to be sellers at the deadline. The fact that we're still competitive, the fact that the Mets are only 2.5 games back of a team that everybody thought was going to run away with the NL East, be one of the best teams in baseball, and the fact that the Mets are only 2.5 games behind the Braves is crazy. I know the Braves have had a lot of injuries, but the fact that we're still even in a conversation right now and we're not Lowell Mets yet is crazy. Now, after we get swept by the White Sox, who knows? But no, I'm kidding. But this team has been exciting. They've been fun to watch. I'll make the argument this team has been more fun to watch than the 2022 Mets, even with all the winning the 2022 Mets did. Just the different storylines that have gone on this year, it's just been a lot of fun to watch as a Mets fan. And no matter what happens the rest of the season, as long as they give us a good effort, like actually look like they care the rest of the year, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch every single game. And I did not expect to be saying that come almost September. And I say the Mets are still in a race for a playoff spot because nobody expected that. Nobody at all. And Okay, maybe some people did, but I did not. So the fact that we're still in this spot, I'm going to go out and on the positive side. I'm happy with it. And the fact that we get to watch Lindor have I'm going to still make the argument for a possible MVP season because I don't know about you guys. An MVP plays both sides of the ball. I know Ohtani's going to go 50-50 or whatever. He doesn't play in the field. And at the end of the day, I feel like Lindor is a lot more of an MVP than Ohtani is. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like taking them both out, the Mets are nowhere in a pennant race. And before the Dodgers signed Ohtani, they were still the best odds to win the World Series. But for me, I'm having a lot of fun watching this team. I'm excited to see where the season ends. And who knows? We still have 3 games against the Braves. And not to mention, we still have 7 games against the Phillies. This can get very interesting down the stretch. If the Mets go 6-1 or something against the Phillies, or 5-2 against the Phillies, division's all of a sudden not fucking crazy to talk about. So with me, I'm going to take the positive side to it. I think this team could be a lot of fun to watch down the stretch.
Yeah, and you know what? The Phillies haven't really been playing well since the All-Star break either. Well, even since the trade deadline. So, you know, look, it's crazy to talk about the division at the moment, but when you got teams you're facing that are in your division, it's the Mets' opportunity to lose because all they got to do is take care of business against those teams, and they can be there, right? 10 out of your last 31 games is against your division rivals and guys that are in front of you. So it's going to be very fun, and I 100% agree with you, right? I went into the season saying 87 wins. I got laughed at. It's very possible. I know they got to win, you know, close to 10 games over to actually accomplish that, but it's still very possible. Like one good 2-week stretch, you know, this team can be, you know, pushing 90 wins if they have a 2-week stretch of, you know, playing extremely well. So, Hector, you're next. Final thoughts, D-Backs series, race to the playoffs, 31 games. What do you got, buddy? Oh, Hector, you're on mute, buddy.
It probably should have stayed that way. Where should I start? Tim, I'm with you, brother. I still have hopes. It's not that I don't have hopes, but where I differ from you is I did come into the season arguing with everybody. It's on the round tables, it's at my own things in spaces, wherever the hell I spoke, saying, as long as I have these players, this core, I better be more than a 500 team. I better get to the trade deadline in competition for either a wild card, division, whatever the hell it is, so that this front office goes out there and makes moves to make us better. That was my mentality the whole time. You could go back to Memorial Day weekend around that time when we did a round table, and I told these guys I had enough. Don't talk to me about no damn off season. There's still enough time to play games. As pissed as I am with this team, they still have a chance to turn it around. So when they went on all that run, it was like, okay, this is more of what I expected. Now, of course, we also did roundtables where we talked about they're not going to stay this hot. It's a matter of when you cool off, how much do you cool off, and do you go here or do you stay here? You know what I'm saying? And we can start saying that they've been kind of like here, and maybe now that, you know, because what's the record now in August? I think we're at 500 in August, or maybe a game under 500. I forgot where I heard what the record is in August. I don't know. So that's my thing. I also, as you guys were talking earlier, and as Tim just spoke again, around Memorial Day weekend, I did a video trying to alert everybody, like, yo, everybody's focusing on this wild card. This wild card shit is a mess. The division is probably easier to attain than the wild card is. Look at the schedule. Let's gain a game a week on Philadelphia, and we have 7 games with them. We have 3 with Atlanta. Now everybody's playing out, and I keep hearing people like, hey, the division's still in reach because Philadelphia's struggling. Well, I try to tell you guys back in Memorial Day weekend, there was a chance for this. This is why I'm frustrated, because I don't give a damn what Vegas says. I don't give a damn what any critic says on TV, whatever. We all have our opinions, right? But at the end of the day, I'm a fan. So I'm always rooting for this team. And then when the season plays out and I see the way that it's playing out and all the opportunities missed that are right there, I can't go back and say, well, before the season, if somebody would have told me that, no, because I told me this team could possibly make the playoffs. And the way that it's played out, a lot of it because of the league is weak and has played them back into contention, because that happened too. Let's be honest. They played the Mets back into contention too. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's why we've seen teams get hot, make it as a wild card, even with the World Series, or make the World Series, because the league is so, what do you call that? Whatever. There's so much parity or whatever. To a certain extent. Yeah, you have the Dodgers and forget them dudes. But not to ramble on. So no, yeah, I division was always in play for me. I don't agree. Well, I don't know if you're really saying that, but I heard you guys say when I was watching in the car before I came up. I don't think 87 wins is enough. This is why I'm saying that just winning series and I felt like yesterday, I think it was, I did a video saying we need maybe 22 more wins to be able to make a play. We had 67 wins, I think it was, at the time. So we're talking about 89, 90 wins, I think, is going to take to get a wild card. In my opinion, I could be wrong. So I need this team to get it together. I need this team to go out there and win the Arizona series, or, I mean, it's never over, right? Until the magic number says 0, it's never over, but it's not going to feel good. We lose the series to Arizona, it's not going to feel good. Then you really got to hope Philadelphia keeps losing. But it doesn't matter if they lose, if you lose too, because you're not gaining that game a week. Right? So I'm not going to say sweep Arizona, but you almost need it, because I also don't want Arizona and San Diego to go out of reach either. So when Tim says before, no, let's just focus on Atlanta, I think it was, or Hayden, whichever one of you guys say that, I totally disagree with that. This is why I'm upset that we didn't take 3 from San Diego, because I don't want them to be out of reach. I want everybody to be in reach. Yeah. When in 2022, all we had to do was go to Atlanta and win one game, how did that work out? So now we look at the schedule and say, oh, we got to do with Atlanta. Oh, all we got to do is worry about Atlanta. No. Because you don't ever know what could happen before we get there. And then we're asking for help. Go out there and win. How many games we got left? 31 now?
Yep.
Bro, I need 22 of them shits now. I need 22 of them games now. I'm serious. So take 2 or 3 from Arizona if you can't sweep them, and you better sweep the White Sox. I'm looking at the schedule right now. You better sweep the White Sox. Then you got Boston. They couldn't win a game this weekend. We could have used their help. Take care of Boston. Take at least 2. Cincinnati, everybody's darling, or a lot of people's darling in the preseason and early on in the season. Sweep them bums. This is what needs to happen, guys. This is what needs to happen. Washington, which is going to be tough, sweep them bums. I don't know how everybody feels about Toronto. Then sweep them bums.
I've been low on Toronto all year. Beginning of the year, I said last place Blue Jays, and oh boy, was I right on that one.
That's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. I want to make these damn playoffs, guys. Maybe if Rob continues to invite me to this and we do a roundtable in fucking December, I'll say, looking back now, man, yeah, that was a good season. Right now, hell no. Hell no. I don't want to just finish over 500. Yeah, that'll be good, but that's not what I want. Not the way the season's played out. Make the damn playoffs. Shut me up.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we'll get into the schedule with my final thoughts. But Hayden, your final thoughts? D-back series race, 31 games. What are your final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Arizona Diamondbacks, I mean, listen, if they swept, I would be ecstatic. It's on the road. It's in Arizona. They've been playing hot ball. So, I mean, with how everything is, I'd settle with 2 and 3. Of course, I'd love a sweep. I'd settle, but I'd settle with 2 or 3. Anything less of 2 or 3 is a failure, in my opinion. You should, okay, I think the pitching matchup should, kind of equal out just about. Hitting, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe D-backs have a decent amount of players on the IL. I believe Christian Walker's on the IL, and I think Ketel Marte still is on the IL. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, he just went on. Yeah, he's on.
He just went on. Okay, so when I was in
games ago.
class earlier, I was searching that up, and I saw they were on the IL. So Ketel Marte's been their best hitter this year, so you don't have to deal with that. But pitching, I mean, Manaea needs to go down, do what he's been doing the last couple games. Same for game 2, 3. I mean, pitching you need to go 6 innings. I'm sorry, you need to go 6 innings. I mean, you gotta, and then the bullpen has to keep a lead. We need a quality start. Simple enough. And for the love of God, please do not walk the 7, 8, or 9 hitter. I mean, I would love to bet on it, because I could probably buy out Amazon at this rate. But please, for the love of God, do not walk the 7, 8, or 9 hitters. Throw strikes. You get an 0-2 count. All right, be aggressive. Finish it off. You get 2 outs. Be aggressive. Finish it off. Don't be walking, then single, then double. No. So do what you got to do against the D-backs. Take care of business. You want to be a playoff team. Well, this is what playoff teams do. They come into series when they're not projected to win, and they win. Mets were not projected very good against the San Diego series, and they split it. So do whatever you can with the D-backs. We'll see. We'll see. Mets control their own destiny. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to be this person to say, oh, the Braves are losing. Oh, let's go. No, I don't care. I don't want to have to rely on other teams' failures for my team to be a success. It was like that nonsense in 2021. Focus on yourself. Win games. The Mets keep winning games. It doesn't matter what the Braves did. It doesn't matter what the D-backs did. It doesn't matter what the Padres or Phillies did. Keep winning games. Go out there, quality starts, hit with runners in scoring position, fundamental hitting. Don't be taking, pitches down, the middle. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting back here, like Hector said, in November, December, and say, damn, what a crappy year. Year 4 wasn't very bright for us. I want to see this team in the playoffs. And I'm happy, in May. I thought right now I'd be talking about football. But, we're still talking baseball, and that's good. That's good. I have no problem watching the Bills. I mean, they'll probably win the division. I don't, that's fine. So it's a good thing for baseball, for the Mets to still be in it. Because a year ago today, they were plenty out of it. New York Mets fans were checked out. Yankees are doing well. It's nice for baseball in New York to do well. It sucks. Obviously I'm not New York, but for the Yankees to Judge is probably, going to break Barry Bonds' record. I mean, he's probably the best hitter I've ever seen in my lifetime.
He's in the running for Triple Crown this year.
Yeah, he'll probably get. I mean, yeah. What do Mets fans have to look forward to? Make the playoffs, go on a playoff hunt. Let Met fans have their fun. So, Yankees are going to make the playoffs, but you get what I'm trying to say. So go out there. Everyone needs to perform. Like, Rob said it. But, Lindor and Vientos have been great, but Alonso needs to step up. Nimmo needs to step up. McNeil, keep doing what he's doing. Alvey needs to step up. Guys need to step up. So we'll see. This is going to be, honestly, I think this is probably one of the most important. This was the most important road trip of the season, 100%. And I think this is the second half of the most important series for the remainder of this year. Gotta win this series. White Sox, you sweep. I don't care. 100 losses before September, you sweep them. So we'll see. Mets control their own destiny. If they want to win, great. If they want to lose, then, well, talk about it in the offseason. We'll watch the Phillies and Yankees probably in the World Series.
Yeah, that's what the Mets fans need. Having a decent season and have to deal with that nonsense. But great final thoughts from every one of you guys. Look, it's very simple, right? They got to take care of their own business, right? Regardless of what anybody else does, if they don't do their job, as Hayden said, it's irrelevant what the other teams do, right? As all of us said, we got 7 more against the Phillies. 3 more against the Braves. That's 10 out of the last 31 games. The Mets, after finishing up the White Sox series to end up August and one day in September, they're on the East Coast the rest of the season, except for the last series of the year where they were in Milwaukee. Other than that, they're not on the West Coast anymore. It's all East Coast. So there's a lot of less travel. They got, out of the last 31 games, they got 18 on the road, 13 at home. They've been, for the most part, better at home lately, but there's still been a better team on the road. So I guess you could take that with a grain of salt, but they just got to win regardless, right? I mean, they're facing teams like Washington and the White Sox are the only teams Washington, Cincinnati, and the White Sox on their schedule that are teams that are not good. Everybody else, Toronto, excuse me, Boston, Arizona, Philly, Atlanta, Milwaukee. These are playoff teams. These are teams that are dangerous. They're, Milwaukee might be resting some guys at the end of the season. That might be a crucial series at the end of the year. They have the division locked up. Atlanta, obviously, they're going to try to kick our ass, right? Philadelphia, they might have the division in hand at that point. They probably want to, destroy the Mets' hopes of making the playoffs. But how serious are they going to be if they have the division in hand at that point? The third to last series of the year. Washington checked out. Toronto, Toronto's
checked
terrible.
Out.
Yeah, and Boston, right? That's a team. It's at home. It's at Citi Field. They're fighting for a playoff spot. So look, 18 at road games, 13 at home in the last 31 to go, right? You're mostly on the East Coast the rest of the season. Get it done. There's no more excuses. There's no more excuses for Alonso, Nimmo, Martinez, anybody. Do the job. Your name is called. Your number is called. Step up. Put the team on your back in that moment. That goes for everybody on this team. There's no one person. I'm not calling out one player anymore every single day, as I like to do, specifically one person. I'm not doing it anymore. Because at the end of the day, this team is going to win or lose as a team, like they did yesterday. Hector brought up a great point when he first came up. We could talk about the offense. We could talk about the pitching. We could talk about the trusted guys in the bullpen. Yesterday was a team effort loss. They have to avoid that. They need team wins like they were doing when they came back from 11 games under 500. They all need to step up. Nobody believes in this core enough. We all talked about, right? I questioned all you guys' confidence level on this team, on this core specifically. Not a lot of us have confidence in the core. How about proving us wrong for once and surprising the shit out of us? And it might not be enough to make the playoffs, but to show that fight gives Met fans at least an opportunity to say, you know what? They didn't make the playoffs, but their effort and their quality of play was there. You can't help what other teams that are in front of you do. But if you take care of your own business, there's a pretty good chance somebody's going to slip up. It's just baseball. It's just how it works. And you're playing those teams that you're chasing, specifically the Braves. And if you want to talk about the division with the Phillies, I said that a month ago. The Phillies we're 8.5 games out of a division with 31 to go. How many times do I have to say with 17 to go? Met fans know that very well. And just because it's LOL Mets doesn't mean the Phillies, who hasn't played well in the second half, can't fall apart either. Because they got a ton of games again. I think the Braves face the Phillies, I think, three more times. So, that could be
four this weekend.
There you go. Right? That's a situation where the Mets are going to gain on somebody if you win, right? We could be talking at the end of the week or next week where the Mets are 4.5 games out of a division and we still got to play the Phillies. Like, things happen quickly, right? The Mets were number one wild card a couple of weeks ago. Now they're out of a wild card spot. Things happen quickly. So as quickly as things turn for the worse, they can turn for the better. This team needs to step up. The entire team, every player, from the first guy on the roster to the last guy on the roster, needs to step up. With that said, guys, that is another Mets roundtable in the books.
Oh, what's Hayden? Hold on. What's Hayden?
He don't like us.
No. No,
Yeah,
we can't go. We can't go. Two things before we go. I don't know if you guys did it early on.
maybe we did. You just didn't want to show up. That's your fault.
No.
Yep.
I might have. Shout out to Lindor on the Player of the Week.
Who?
Shout out to Lindor. Congratulations to Lindor on the Player of the Week. Good shit. Keep it going, brother. And we cannot have a. Don't fucking hide, Hayden. We cannot have a round table without knowing what hat this kid is wearing. What you wearing, bro?
It looks like a Boston hat.
Boston Red Sox.
Oh!
This guy's a Red Sox fan. I think that's the hat that he's worn the most on this damn thing.
Let's
And
go
he
Red
had the
Sox,
bad-
baby.
he
For a while.
had-
What's the
let's
swing
go
for a
Red
while?
Sox. Oh my God, let's go home. Well, I'm home. Let me go.
All
to
right,
work.
guys. So
Oh, man.
thank you for tuning into another Mets Roundtable podcast. Tim, let everybody know about your channel and what's going on over the next couple days with you and your brother.
Oh, lots of stuff. Baseball is, we're almost done with baseball. College football season is here. I'm really, really excited for that. We'll have a lot of content for college football coming out. And then before we know it, NBA will be back. NHL will be back. NFL is here. So lots of content over at ESB if you guys want to check out that. On the betting side of everything, all the statistics, all the numbers, betting side at ESB, Earl Sports Bets, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and his brother do an excellent job. Again, if you like betting, again, they go through the details. Like they really go into detail. I'm an idiot with that stuff, and
Do
so,
you have winners? Is what I need to know. You got winners for me, Tim? Because if you
Trust
got
me.
winners,
So.
I'm in there. I
Hector,
need winners.
Hector, trust me when I tell you, they're pretty damn good. I tell you that.
Hey,
much. Him and his
all
brother are really
I'll
good.
say
No, that sounds good.
is I know for about a week at work, I was telling everybody nobody's ready for Georgia Tech to go and outright beat Florida
Yes.
State. I fucking called that one from the beginning.
Fun.
I wish you told me that because one of my buddies was all over Florida State in the over, and I tell this stupid ass.
Georgia
You know how
Tech in
that
the
goes.
under all day, easy.
But I don't follow college football, right? He does, and
Go
he be having
Noles.
winners. So he puts it in the chat sometimes. And this time I tell them no good. But yeah, we gotta
Listen,
get out of here. But
Hey, listen.
listen, guys, look out for me to be doing lives. I do the late night games for sure. So look out
Yeah.
for that, and we're gonna start
Hey,
plugging.
listen.
Shit. Come
Florida
check out the
State
Blood
Seminoles,
Thoughts Live,
right?
baby.
Florida State
Oops.
Seminoles, they fell apart. We need another team to fall apart that does the same exact thing. So with that said,
Yeah,
guys, everybody have a great night. Let's go Mets. Let's kick some ass in the desert in Arizona.
2 of 3.
Have a great night. Let's go Mets, and we'll see you next
2
time,
of
guys.
3.
Guys, have a great night.
2 of 3. 2 of 3. And then sweep the Sox.
There we go.
Let's
There we
go
go.
Mets, baby.